Hey, what's up? Hello?
Hello? I'm not sure who this is.
This Patty?
Sorry, mate. I think you got the wrong number.
Oh, sorry about that.
All right, mate. Go now.
Right.
It's the Pup Fresh Podcast, Pup Fresh Podcast, Pup Fresh Podcast!
Hey, welcome to the Pup Fresh Podcast, the podcast with no tagline yet. I want to get a tagline so I can say, welcome to the Pup Fresh Podcast, the podcast that kicks ass and takes names. Oh, yeah, or something stupid crazy like that. But yeah, later on in the show, I got Patty of As It Is on the phone or on Skype or whatever. Yeah, I talked to him for like 40 minutes. It was awesome. He's a cool guy. We had some technical difficulties before the interview, but we were able to have a good conversation. Before that, I'm going to do my little talking bit where I discuss some popular music stories over the past week, which I'll be honest with you, there aren't many. Boring music week. I'm going to be the first to admit that. So I guess I could talk to you about how I was at jury duty yesterday. Yeah. You want to talk about growing up. I've never felt more like an adult than when I went to jury duty. I'm 22 years old, and I showed up there at 8 o'clock in the morning, which I had to wake up at 7 a.m. for, which I hate waking up early. I absolutely cannot stand it. And then I sat around all day, literally from 8 a.m. till 4. I was sitting on a plastic chair waiting for my name to be called so that I could go serve on a jury, but I didn't even get called back. So I just sat there and listened to like music. I just had my phone on shuffle, and it was cool. I listened to like Blurry Face by 21 Pilots 50 times. They had the number one album last week, so that congratulations to them. But yeah, jury duty, awful. I would not recommend it. They let us break for like an hour and a half lunch, so I went to a Buffalo Wild Wings, which that's always an experience. Let's see. We got the Academy they're back. For that was like the biggest story last week, I thought. They're coming back for Riot Fest, that's so cool. It's awesome, it's in Chicago, which is like 5 hours from me. But Riot Fest is the weekend of my sister's wedding, so I can't go see them for their one-off reunion show. That's a bummer. But still, the Academy they were like the first live band I ever saw back in January of 2005. I went to a Something Corporate show, and the Academy was the opening band. I don't even think they were signed to Field by Ramen yet, but that was such I will always remember that first live performance, as I'm sure the listeners to this podcast remember their first live performance that they saw. But if I'm being honest, I think my first concert was Hanson, and that was in 1997. Listen how old I feel. The Hanson Brothers, back in the day when Mbop was just taken off. But I don't count that as my first show. My first show is like Something Corporate, Hidden in Plain View, Straight Light Run, and the Academy and that is one of my memories that I actually held on to. There's I don't know. What could I talk about from last week? Was there anything cool? You tell me what I'm missing out on. If you want me to talk about something, tweet at Pup Fresh and let me know. And you know what? If you want to give me feedback to what you want more of on this podcast, tweet at Pup Fresh. My dad actually listened to the show. How cool do I sound? Yeah, my dad listens to my show. He's a big fan. Actually, he listened to it and he just texted me and he said, just listen to your podcast. You need to stop swearing. Come on, really? I'm like, Dad, I want to be cool. I want to be impressive to my peers. I want to appear to be young and hip with the following. And he's just like, vulgarity, there's never an excuse for it. And I'm like, Dad, come on, man. Come on, really? And maybe he has a point. I think he does. I do need to work on how much I swear. But it happens sometimes. You get all heated up and you want to just drop an F-bomb. And so, Dad, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry if I swear. I'm going to try my best to not. I actually ended up stealing the Lazy Boy from his house, and I brought it over to my apartment. And so now I have a Lazy Boy. Not that any of you guys care about my life. I will move on and talk about other Thanks. Oh, man. I actually also got some good feedback from my buddy Joey Britton. He's the merch guy of the band. I almost forgot their name. The Big Time. You know, Derek wrote the theme song to the Pup Fresh Podcast theme song. Yeah, Joey's their merch guy at Joey_Britton. He's a very smart dude. I really respect his opinion. And he told me that I need to start being a little bit more confident when I'm discussing things. And he said that I say a lot, which I totally agree with 100%. And I really took that advice to heart, and he kind of gave me a few other pointers, and I really appreciate his feedback to this thing, because this is episode number 5, and I still don't really know what I'm doing with it. I kind of have a general idea, and any feedback is good, especially if you're not being an asshole. Sorry, Dad, an asshole about it. Because I want to be able to make something that you guys enjoy. There's really nothing to talk about now for this intro. I could talk about Caitlyn Jenner. You guys want me to talk about Caitlyn Jenner? Let me make it simple for you. If you're not supportive of Caitlyn Jenner, if you're not supportive of trans individuals, if you're going to say anything negative about it, then you can fuck off. Sorry, Dad, for swearing, but it's the truth. I don't want anybody who's not supportive of trans individuals, gay individuals, anything, listening to my podcast. I just don't. And I think that the best course of action for that is to educate yourselves and to learn why we need to be sensitive when we're discussing these types of individuals. I don't understand why anybody would want to oppose anybody during that time of change. It just doesn't make sense to me. So educate yourselves and become more tolerable. That's about all I can say. I'll just get right to the interview, I guess. Patty Walters of the band As It Is. You can catch them this summer on the Vans Warped Tour all summer long. They're playing the Journeys stage, which that's pretty cool. Whenever I work in a mall and there's a Journeys there, and I always walk by and I see all of the Warped graphics, and now I'm like, wow, they're playing the Journey stage. That's pretty impressive, and they're one of like 3 bands that I would actually go see at Warped Tour this year. And I'm not dogging. Well, I guess I am dogging Warped Tour. But honestly, like, they're so good. If you guys haven't listened to As It Is yet, well, I'm imagining because nobody listens to this podcast who doesn't like the guests. But their new album, Never Happy Ever After, is available now on iTunes. Go listen to that. And while you're at Warped Tour this summer, go check them out. What else are you going to be doing? Who are you going to go be seeing at Warped Tour? What are you going to go see? What? Pierce the Veil? Oh, cool. Yeah, go see Pierce the Veil. No. If they're playing at the same time, you're going to go see As It Is. Or you're going to go see Asking Alexandria? I don't think so. You're going to go see As It Is. I think that if I end up going to Warp this year, which it's an if right now, but if I end up going to Warp this year, I think I'm going to maybe see Paris, American Opera. I'd see Pierce the Veil, but I'd see As It Is. I'd see As It Is. That's the band to go see this summer on Warped. A lot of energy, a lot of good stuff. Although I've never seen them live before, I was lurking on YouTube and I see what they're all about. It's very, very impressive. Go check. If you're at Warped, I'm serious, make it a priority. And I'm not wrong about things. That's the number one thing about me, is I'm always right. I'm just kidding. I'm never right. Go see them. Listen to this podcast. Let us know what you think. Tweet at Pup Fresh. And without further ado, as I'm sure I already said before, here is my interview with Patty Walters of As It Is.
Pup Fresh Podcast!
All right, here we are. Pup Fresh Podcast. I'm joined by Patty Walters.
Hello. Hi.
Hey. This is like, how many times have we...
This is at least the 6th or 7th attempt at this.
But we're going to, listen, for all you fans out there that want to hear this interview, we're doing everything that we can to bring it to you. And because we love Patty Walters over here at Pup Fresh, and we love your band As It Is. How are you doing with everything right now, Patty?
Great. Super good. Yeah, we're looking forward to Warped Tour now. It's that time where there's nothing in between our time off now and our first show at Warped Tour. So we're just like really eager to get back in the States and start Warped Tour.
Okay, so when did you move over to where do you live?
So I live in Brighton in the UK.
So when did you move over there?
When I was 5 years old. So I've been here 18 or more years, a long time.
Geez, so you're not even like you have you have like an accent from the United States.
Yeah.
But so that you never caught on, or because when I'm hanging out around people and if they talk a certain way, sometimes I'll notice certain words kind of creep through from like different like accents. Does that ever happen with you at all?
I suppose not. I mean, when I talk to my grandparents, they think I sound British, or maybe it's just kind of how I phrase things and my general way of speakings and my like Britishisms. But yeah, no, the English accent didn't really take as long as I've been over here, which is kind of bizarre.
Right,
but,
I would think so. Well, how was like going to school and stuff over in the UK?
Oh, I love it. I love the UK. We only planned on being here for 3 years, but it's just kind of where home's always felt for me. I really love it.
Right. I asked that because did you do public school over there?
Yeah.
Because I would think that you probably being like the only American kid there, that everybody would like pick on you because of how you talk. Did that ever happen at all?
From time to time, but no, it's just I don't know.
It wasn't anything.
No.
Did anybody ever make fun of your name because Patty's not a typical like guy name or anything like that?
The weird thing about Patty is because I'll say Patty, you and I will say Patty, but the English will say Patty, and the T's are very pronounced. Okay. And there was this kind of cultural barrier with that name because when I'll go into Starbucks and I'll say Patty, it'll be Paddy written.
Oh, like you're an Irishman or something.
Exactly. It's much more of an Irish name.
Yeah, I just think of the basketball player Patty Mills. I don't know if you know who he is, but
I don't. I'm afraid I'm not a sports guy at all.
That's okay. He only has won a couple of championships with the Spurs. No big deal. I'm just messing around with you. My last name is Cox, so growing up, it was like everybody just made dick jokes to me, and it was awful. So I don't know.
Sure.
I was watching your YouTube videos, and I gotta say, I liked them, especially in comparison to other YouTubers out there.
Sure.
But you haven't really done anything in probably a year or so.
Yeah, well, it's bizarre. It's not even a year, but it feels like it's been this monumentally big portion of my life. But it's not even been a year, which is so weird.
And so I watched the video. You're like, I'm just gonna focus on the band. I may come back occasionally. You haven't come back occasionally, Patty. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Sure. Yeah, still very much focusing on the band. But I love that I've left it open-ended. I love that, that's something I haven't definitively sworn off. It's something I can come back to at any point. And when and if that occurs, I'd love for that to be, just exactly the way it was. But I love that I've left it open-ended, and there's nothing stopping me except where my current priorities are.
Right. It's kind of like a TV show if they were to do something like that.
Sure, like the Friends reunion that everybody was crossing their fingers for forever.
Right. I think more so. I'm like a Curb Your Enthusiasm guy, so that's what I'm thinking.
Sure.
Yeah, but either way, when I was watching the videos, I saw that you are straight edge, which you want to know a secret?
Yes, please.
So am I. So
that is incredible.
Yeah, and how old are you?
23.
Yeah, I'm 22, and this is like such a weird age to be like a straight edge dude. Because,
for sure.
You know what I mean? It's like the pinnacle of that. Like everybody wants to go out, get a beer, and you know what I mean? Which is whatever, because we'll probably get like a water, soda, whatever. But
exactly.
When you in the video where you explained it, you said that you kind of just would watch all your friends do it, and you just couldn't understand why they were doing it.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, like you could understand to some extent because, like they were, there was like an effect that you were very definitely missing. There was just kind of this whole thing that you didn't understand. And I don't know. I just watched my friends turn into very different people, which I had a huge disdain for because I loved my friends and they were, I don't know, not fun to be around when they were under the influence of alcohol or drugs. And it was just never for me. I don't know. I've always kind of attributed why I'm straight edge to what my cousins, because my cousins are all a bit older than me and they liked coffee. And when I was maybe 9 or 10 or 11 years old, I used to pretend that I loved black coffee to impress my older cousins. And I hated it. I thought it tasted horrible. And now I love coffee. And maybe I went through that whole kind of beer phase with coffee instead.
Right.
I don't know. Because I never really wanted to, like the taste of beer or the effects that it had on my friends or myself at all. And I don't know. Yeah, it's very bizarre, I guess, why it was such an important thing that I didn't do that. But at the same time, after making those videos, it became so apparent that there are a lot of kids that feel the same. And that's incredible to me.
Right. I like the coffee analogy too. I'm 22 and I still hate coffee, but I drink it every morning to stay awake. So.
Yeah, sure, of course.
But when I think of my like straight edge experience, if you give a shit either way, I just think I was born like that. Like when I look back to it, I just never had the interest of it. Everybody would always talk about it, and I would just always think, no, like it was weird. But I also did have an older brother who was really into like he really dug like AFI and all those like types of bands, and he was straight edge for like a greater part of his teenage years, but then he eventually like broke or whatever, and I just saw that and like my heart broke, like man, because there's so many people that I know that have been edge that have just stopped. And has that ever happened to you? Do you ever experience that, and how did you feel?
Definitely. Yeah. There's been times when I've been okay with it, but there's also been times where I felt like I was watching a person change for what I felt was the worse, not the better. And it's a slippery slope because it feels like welcoming back like drinking, and it's like this, I don't know, at the time, like maybe it's a celebratory thing, but then years later it becomes, not necessarily an addiction, but a dependency. And you watch these people change from being like fun loving to being, I don't know, kind of like cold and, I don't know, just not the person that they used to be. I've definitely seen that happen, and it is sad. Yeah, I can totally relate to that.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's like you're not ever going to tell anybody how to live their life or anything. It's just,
of course,
dude. It's such a weird thing. And then if you do like express that, hey man, I'm kind of bummed out. They're just the assumption is that, oh, you're just a straight edge. Anybody just ever make those assumptions towards you about like, I don't know what you do? They just like figure that you're just some like uptight asshole who's going to be constantly judging them, or
yeah, I think there is a stigma in straight edge that people view you as pretentious or self-righteous, but like my lifestyle choices are very much my own, and I love to surround myself with people that do drink alcohol and do drugs, but like that's just very much my thing. There's totally a stigma in straight edge, or there I don't know, maybe it's not as much as there used to be, but there so was. And maybe it's just because I've surrounded myself with people I really like that I don't see it anymore.
Right.
But yeah, no, I definitely agree with that.
Going back to like the YouTube thing, you did like an interview with Brendon Urie.
Yeah, I did.
How the hell do you get Brendon Urie? What's that about? What'd you do?
It was just, I became friends with somebody that got me in touch with this company called Transmitter. And we just got talking over email, and they put me in touch with Brendon Urie, and they said Brendon Urie was interested to do this kind of collab, and I was of course very keen to do it, and we made it happen. And he was incredible. He was just so energetic and so genuine and nice, and I was so intimidated because like I've been listening to his music for such a long time at that point. But it was huge. It was just so fun. I'm glad everybody enjoyed it as much as we did.
I mean, that was a really, really great, like, like those were awesome. Like how do you almost feel like you can't go back to doing a series like that because you're in a band, and that like, if you're a band member going to interview a bigger band than you, it almost looks like, this guy's almost like, you're not legit. Does that make sense? I'm not meaning to like,
no, of course. No, never. I mean, it's easy to kind of overthink that kind of thing and be like, kind of just the politics of it all.
Right.
But I'd like to think that I'd never let that get in my way. But at the same time, this is early days. So we'll see how it all pans out. But I'd never say that it's something I'd never do again. But it was because it was so fun, and it was genuinely like it's one of my fondest videos that of my YouTube making career. I'd say.
So what do you do when you're interviewing Brendon Urie? You know, what is he? How does that, like, you're just put in a room with him and just like, all right, go.
Yeah, luckily that we had people kind of directing the entire situation, because I would have been just so, shy and intimidated that I wouldn't have really known what to do, I suppose. But the thing I say about those videos is just kind of whether they were terrific or terrible completely depended on his attitude and involvement. But because I mean, if he'd just been, I don't know, cold, they could have really been just awful videos. But he was so incredible, and just so happy-go-lucky and this big ball of energy, and that's why they ended up being so great to watch. And yeah, it was just an awesome experience, really, just totally surreal at the time.
Right. But like, I mean, you are like a talented individual. Obviously, that's how you've gotten your success and now your band. As it is, you just released a new album.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I actually showed my girlfriend a few songs off that album. She's she loves it. She loved it.
That's tell her we say hi and thank you very much.
I think that it's crazy because, I'm not too keen on the YouTube community, but I think when somebody is there and the success comes from YouTube, it's almost like the result of it is usually the band they join isn't that great. Do you know?
Sure.
Do you know what I'm saying? But you guys are actually like, you're good. You're great. Obviously they were a band before you joined, right?
No, they weren't.
So wait, so I thought that you were just put in a band of dudes who like had known each other for a long time, but did you build that band yourself, or what happened?
Basically, I found a site called joinmyband.co.uk, and just put up an ad saying, "Hey, I want to start up a pop punk band," and found our guitarist Andy in a practice room, and we started a band. And then a kid I was at university, who's Ben Biss, our guitarist and other vocalist. We found our drummer through the exact same website, joinmyband.co.uk, and eventually found our bassist. And we didn't know each other like particularly well when we started, but I was there from the inception of the band, and yeah. It was very much just kind of an organic band experience. I think a lot of people thought of us at least as maybe a YouTube based band, but that was just very much like my own thing, and we kept them very separate, and we played shitty shows to nobody, just like every band does, and eventually it became what it is now, which is crazy.
But couldn't that have gone so wrong?
Oh, hugely. Yeah.
You just type into a website and then there you go. You have a band. It's crazy the world that we live in today and the technology that's available. But yeah, I just imagine, had you gone through any experience with other people before you found them on that same website?
Definitely. We auditioned a bassist that it didn't work out with, but I can still really vividly remember, I don't know why, but our drummer Foley was the first drummer we auditioned, but we had a second drummer coming to audition the following day. Was a female drummer named Maddie, who never turned up at the practice room. We just kind of looked like assholes just with our guitars, with a drummer that never turned up. But at the same time, we were so impressed with Foley. We were like, whoever this next drummer is, he or she has to be fucking incredible to beat this guy. So we really lucked out. We did. It's such a weird process looking back on it, to think that we're now best friends and we have this dynamic that functions, because being in a band is not the easiest thing in the world. I know it looks super glamorous and really fun, which it is at times, but you need people to be certain roles in a band. You need somebody that's good at the business stuff, and we all write really well together. And that's super rare, especially so considering we didn't know each other before this band. It's just so bizarre. It's incredibly bizarre.
Right. So did you deal with any instances of people just not giving you the credit that you deserve because you came from YouTube and took that route?
I suppose. I mean, I can understand why people felt like we just kind of came out of nowhere. But at the same time, I mean, every band kind of, I don't know. I mean, we played shows to nobody. We played so many clubs. Like, I mean, when I say we played shows to nobody, like there was several instances of playing shows to the people that worked at the venue and not even the bands that played before us. Like they left. So, I mean, like we were on the stage to physically know people that weren't working at the venue. But I can understand why it looks that way. But I think that's just how it is with every single band, is just kind of until they've achieved some kind of success, you didn't know about them because they were just doing that thing like we were. But I can understand that, I suppose.
So did you deal with, like, I mean, I think you alluded to politics earlier on, like that there's all the politics going. There's politics at every single level of the music business that I don't think people realize. So when you were that like small band and things like that, when the opening bands were leaving before you played, was there almost like that, like, oh, they didn't do this the right way? If you're like because I know over here, at least, when there's a local band, there's like local band etiquette. And if you don't follow it, you're just like politic to never play a show. People just, talk and all this stuff. Do you ever deal with any of that at all?
Sure. Well, I mean, yeah, like there's a ton of politics in playing shows, and like you said, like there's etiquette in pretty much every show you play and how you compose yourself and behave as a band. I think there's this huge stigma about DIY, like being like a DIY band, and what it means to be a DIY band. And I mean, I'm wording everything I say so carefully because like DIY is such a touchy word. Like you have to do these certain things and be this certain thing. And it seems at times like denying yourselves opportunities is being a DIY band. And I feel like, denying yourself like the internet as a tool to promote yourself, like social media, like denying yourself that can be seen as cool and DIY. And that's something that was never really for us. Like social media is a huge tool and it's done a lot of things for us. And I don't know. I'm just kind of, just kind of word vomit at this point.
No, you're fine. You're fine. How come? Okay, social media is a huge deal for you. You have how many Twitter followers? Do you know how many Twitter followers you have? You have
100 and maybe 70,000.
179. You're fucking huge. Why aren't you verified right now? That's my question to you.
I don't know. Maybe I should send an email or something. I just it's not my list of priorities. They're all real followers. I mean, if they were all fake, then I don't know.
I know, but how is that not on your list of priorities? Like, I feel like, come on, you having that little check mark next to your name, that's got that. I mean, you don't think now that that's a big deal, but once it happens, you look at your page, you're like, damn, look at me.
It'll be cool. It'll be a milestone. That's for sure.
I think that needs to happen soon because you are signed to Fearless now, right?
Yes.
And have they been cool to you? Was that like how did that all come about?
Yeah. When we got, it was, this is the thing that we talked about the video I made with Brendon Urie. I filmed that video, and then on the train home, we got our first contract sent over from Fearless. So that was a huge day. That it was just one of the most surreal days in my life. It was just we started like really talking to Fearless. Like they expressed interest, and we expressed that this is something that could potentially work super well. And then they sent over the first contract, and we talked in depth and sorted all these things out. But Fearless have been incredible to us, and I say that sincerely and genuinely, and just so fondly. I love the way they operate as a label. They're all just really genuine people, but like their hearts are in the right place when it comes to running a label. Like they're all about artistic integrity, and they've let us do some really cool things. And they just treat their bands right, and then they're very nice people, and I couldn't love them more, honestly.
They're also really like progressive in that they are taking advantage of like the YouTube scene and everything like that, and kind of, you know, I don't know. I think that what they're doing is very, very smart and good and everything like that.
Yeah.
When you got the contract over, though, and I was going to follow up by asking if you were just so antsy to sign that you just didn't think anything over, did you kind of like have somebody there like leading you through any sort of like negotiations to try to like make it so that you don't just jump into this huge contract that you're never out of or anything?
Yeah, we had management at that point, and they were making sure we didn't do anything stupid. But at the same time, I mean, we were very careful that this label or any label was the right move for our band at that point. But we did very firmly believe that the Fearless was the right label for us, and that this was the right contract, and that they were going to do good things for us, and that we were going to be a good team to work together for a long time.
I watched your YouTube video about it was like called like I'm Bad at Sex or something like that, and in the video it seemed as though you had like almost this like profound perspective on the subject, to where
Sure.
You're very, very respectful when it comes to talking about it, and you're intelligent, and it's a great thing. With that said, what's your reaction to all of these allegations that have been coming out about all of these band members? And I'm sure that you're friends with some of them, so I bet you're going to be careful with how you say it, everything like that. But everything that's going on right now, does it just kind of make you want to punch yourself in the face? Because how could people, I don't know, be this disrespectful to fans or anything like that?
It's such a minefield, this subject, honestly. Yeah, it honestly just makes me angry and sad, the entire situation, no matter who it's regarding. I could never treat a fan that way, honestly. I think that's that's all I'll say, is just it's awful behavior and disrespectful.
I mean, were you brought up with those kind of values and everything? Because when you talked in that video a long time ago, you just seem like you're not a bad person. You know what I mean? Like you're just, it's so, and it's rare kind of almost, or it seems that way now, that it's like, how is there a dude out there who's respectful when it comes to girls? Like,
yeah, I hope it isn't rare. It just feels like common sense, really. And I was brought up that way. But just at the end of the day, it's not difficult,
right?
And it doesn't make me intelligent or special. It's just being good to other people, and it's sad that that's not the majority, or at least or common. It's just it's sad. Really.
Well, you're a good person. If anybody needs somebody to look up to, this guy right here.
No, thank you.
Respect,
I hope so.
respect for women, straight edge. You kind of sound like somebody that I know, huh? I'm talking about myself. How come you have so many Twitter followers, Patty? And I'm just kidding. But yeah,
I'll hook you up.
There you go. You plug the shit out of it. I did, before we get to plugging your stuff, because we're gonna have a whole opportunity to talk about all of your exciting ventures to come. I tweeted out, and you were so kind to retweet. You must have known that I was going to be asking you to get me Twitter followers. But
yes.
I asked people if they wanted to ask you some questions, which I always think is just a fun thing to do, because I don't know, they like to hear their names said to you, and I don't know.
Of course.
What is her name? Mariana? She wants to know what's your biggest fear. And also, she said, P.S. I love you. I don't know I think she was talking to me when she said I love you. She was asking you what your biggest fear is. I'm just kidding.
Of course. My biggest fear, oh God, I hate the idea of not being able to breathe. Just suffocation of any kind, whether that's drowning or it's awful. I hate that. I hate it so much. And just kind of suffocating of any kind, not being able to breathe. That's my biggest fear, easily.
Yeah, that's a respectable fear. I think not being able to breathe, anybody could imagine that's
It's just like I'm not claustrophobic, but just that kind of whole concept is super scary for me.
All right, Hannah, Patty X Infinity on Twitter. Wow, look at that. She got look at who. I think she likes you. She wants. If you could change one thing about your life right now, what would it be?
Quite honestly, I know this may sound super lame, but I couldn't have asked for like a more surreal life. I mean, there's so many aspects of what I do, like being part of a band that was the first UK band to sign to Fearless Records. It's just kind of I don't know how you could have something like that and want anything different. But I love how much I've got to look forward to. So at this current moment, I don't think I'd change anything. It's a really, really exciting time right now, I suppose.
Yeah, that's you're a very humble person. I like that about you. I don't even know this name. Cucumber Lester, something like that.
Sure.
Wants to know, do you still have their drawing? and you can't see the drawing, but you just said yes. You just jumped to it.
Oh, but like everything I've ever been given, I have a bag for. I've just from every tour, from every wristband to every drawing to every like piece of candy. I hope none of it's like expired and gone super moldy, but I've kept it all.
What do you keep that? What do you keep something like that in?
It's just like a big suitcase. It's a big suitcase, and it's becoming quite full. I might need to invest in a second one, and it just lives in what used to be my studio, but is now currently like the As It Is merch warehouse.
Yeah, look at you! You have your own merch warehouse, your own suitcase full of pictures. This one's a picture of you and your girlfriend, and you have hearts. Nobody can see it. I don't know why I'm describing it, but yeah, that's cool that you hang on to that stuff. Believe it or not, there was a time period where people would send me things when I was more active with the website, and I
could believe it.
No, that's a very hard thing to believe. Listen, I have one Manila like envelope that it all. You have a suitcase, a warehouse, the whole thing. Yeah, I have this Manila envelope with like birthday cards.
Sure.
It's funny. All right. Siren in the Dark. Trash. I look at the display name first, And,
yeah, of course.
But this person's name is just Trash, which
just Trash. Great.
I thought that I had low self-esteem. Listen, you call yourself Trash. After Warped Tour, will you be doing another U.S. tour?
I sincerely hope so, but we just honestly don't know at this point. But we've done our first one. We've had our first taste of the U.S. And when I say first taste of the U.S., what comes to mind is Taco Bell, because we ate like literally our body weight in it while we were out there. But as soon as we know, everybody else will know. But yeah, no, all we know is we're going to be on Warped, and hopefully we'll be back very, very soon.
I think that that you're doing another tour. I think you just can't say it. Listen,
that is not the case.
Blink once if you're playing it safe.
No.
See, we're not even on camera. I'm just kidding. I'm having a little fun with you, Patty. I apologize.
No,
and she also wants to know if you remember her, and it's a picture of you guys together, which you can't see. So, no, she. I picked the worst questions to ask. Listen, it's okay. Let's get to it. You're doing Warped Tour though, and on the tour you're gonna do the Warped TEI thing. What is that? What are you doing on that?
Yeah, I'm really excited for that. So that's there's a workshop called TEI that Ben and I are hosting about lyric writing. I want to say it's called Lyrics and Songwriting Dynamics, and it's all about how Ben and I write lyrics together. Because the songs we write as a band are all really collaborative. Like the five of us write like unanimously, just in a room when we can, at least. And Ben and I always write lyrics together, like which is a very interesting process because we approach what we do very differently. And I think we've got like a really good formula going with it now. So I'm really, really excited to meet a bunch of people that are interested in lyric writing, because I lyricism is one of my favorite parts of songwriting. It's what I love about music. So yeah, we're gonna we're gonna teach, which is terrifying to think of because I mean we just about barely know what we're doing. But yeah, no, if you are interested in that, then you should stop by and we'll teach what we know, which shouldn't take long.
I think it's impressive that you went from doing YouTube covers to, because when you see somebody doing covers, you don't imagine that they're good songwriters. Do you know what I'm saying with that? Like,
yeah,
it's almost like if you're in a cover band, it's because you can't write your own shit. First of all, you're not a cover band, but you have enough talent and like you care enough about the lyrics to do that. That's impressive. I mean, that's incredible, man. It's very, very cool. But let's see, you're also doing Reading and Leeds, the festival. That's crazy. I remember when I was growing up there, when YouTube first started. I remember the first thing that I would watch were like these live videos of Alkaline Trio doing Reading and Leeds, and they were like my favorite band back in the day. And I saw how huge that shit is. So yeah, that's big, man. Congratulations on that.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we're super excited. I think so. There's Ben put up this Instagram. You can find his Instagram somewhere. But it was all about when he was in his first band when he was like, I don't know, maybe 10 or 11 or something. He told his bandmates that he was thinking about going to Reading and Leeds, and his friends told him he wasn't cool enough to go to Reading and Leeds. And now we're playing, and I'm excited for his 10-year-old self to be playing. But I think we may have all five of us, just kind of in the past to see some amazing bands, and it's such like a cool atmosphere as well, so I'm really looking forward to it.
That's the one they have all the flags going in the crowd, the whole thing, right?
Yeah, it's nuts.
That's so cool. And you're going to Japan. Look at you.
Yeah, in September, just after my birthday. So I'm really looking forward to that. We're playing a festival in Japan alongside Gorilla Biscuits and Bane, which I'm so stoked about.
Well, Bane,
the straight edge kid in me is like,
there you go.
This is sick. This is huge. So yeah, whether anybody's watching us or not, I will be watching them and loving it.
That's crazy, man. Look at you. I remember, again, looking back, I just remember we were just posting some kid, doing covers, all that stuff, and now it's like you're legit. You're here, man. You're to the. I don't know what I'm saying at this point.
But that's what I think is so awesome is because I've always felt like just some hopeless loser kid who loves music and just tries really hard at what he likes to do, and like to be in this position now. I think what excites me about that is that it's possible for anybody. So it like all the other kids making YouTube videos or like YouTube covers or all the kids like starting up their first band, like, it may seem like this, like these big things are like way out of your grasp. It's just it's all luck and love and really amazing at times. So that makes me happy, I guess. I don't know.
What's that? I'm going to let you go in a second here, but you got to have the personality for it too. Like interacting with like fellow bands, everything like that. You got to be. That wasn't difficult for you. You're a cool kid, right? I mean, you're everybody. I guess that's one way of putting it. No problems with that, right? Because I mean, I think if I was in your position, right, and I'm thinking this is me, I have as much talent as you, I'm as handsome as you, I'm I have the online following, the whole thing. I would still I would like show up and I would drop the ball because I can interact with humans. So that's
I suppose I'm so insecure sometimes when I'm talking to people. Like I really overthink and second guess a lot of the things I say sometimes. But in all honesty, it's just about being nice to people and being respectful to people. And you just learn as you go along because you'll make an ass out of yourself just like everybody else, and you'll learn and you'll very likely get somewhere if you just like it enough.
Well, hey man, Warped Tour coming up, Reading, Leeds, Japan. You're teaching stuff. The album just dropped. You're doing big things, and I'm very happy that you took the time out of your day to talk to us, and you've always been nice to us and always been friendly, and I just appreciate that, and I really hope that we can continue that relationship, and you're always welcome back on here if you ever want to talk about anything, or if you just fucking I don't know
No, so thank you. No, I mean like I said to you when we were just calling for the first time, is you guys have always been so nice to me. You were like one of the first kind of real blogs, platforms that was talking about what I was doing, and you've been so nice to the band. And it's a very mutual love. So thanks for having me and us.
Yeah, absolutely. Go get yourself verified on Twitter, bud.
I'm just gonna walk down to Twitter, kick the door down,
I'm
and be
serious.
like, "Talks demanded this, man."
No, that should be priority number one. I'm not even.
I'll just get them on the phone, shout at them for a while.
No, seriously. If you don't email your label right after this and tell them.
That's well, Dave. That's well, Dave.
Exactly. Okay, so thank you for talking to us. Is there anything? Is there anything you want to add? Anything you want to say to the people?
No, just let them know if you want us back, and let them know if you enjoyed this. Thumb it up if that's still what you do on YouTube. I've been out of the game for a little while. But yeah, no, share it around. Hope you enjoyed. Just thanks for having me. Sincerely.
Cool. All right, thanks, man. So there's the interview with Patty. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. It seemed like time flew by when I was doing that interview. I really enjoyed talking to him. He seems like a really, really cool dude. We got that straight edge connection. I think that Fearless needs to get on it and verify his ass on Twitter because he deserves it. Everybody go subscribe to Pup Fresh on YouTube, youtube.com/PupFresh. Follow us on Twitter at Pup Fresh, and subscribe to us on iTunes. Look us up on SoundCloud. Anything. It does. I mean, it actually. If you don't want to subscribe, that's fine. But I will just say that it's worth it because we're pretty cool. Yeah, this is the part where I end the show. I don't really know how to do that, so I just ramble and then I let the music cut me.
It's the Pup Fresh Podcast. Pup Fresh Podcast. Pup Fresh Podcast.